diamonds in the rough. NFL Draft Diamonds. Time to shine.
Hi, my name is Jimmy Williams with NFL Draft Diamonds, and today I have with me Samuel Akem. He is a wide receiver out of Montana. How's your day, sir?
Good. How about yourself?
Uh, Doing good, man. Separated by a couple hours, but through the beauty of
Yeah.
technology, I have you on here, so I do appreciate you coming on. So,
Oh yeah.
um, Sam, I know a little bit about your story, but why don't you catch everybody up a little bit? Tell me maybe a little bit about where you're from, and just kind of get us to Montana. Like, how'd you end up?
I'm a kid from Oklahoma. I don't want to say small town, Tulsa, Oklahoma, Broken Arrow, Oklahoma, technically, but I say Tulsa, Oklahoma for people who don't know. Um, I grew up really just playing all sports, football, basketball, track. Those were the three that I really dabbled in. I stopped basketball my freshman year of high school. But football and track were really the sports that I really loved growing up. I ran track my whole life, summer track. I used to do summer track really hard. My mom kept us in sports. Um, I feel like my whole life I've been chasing after my brother. My big brother was always good at sports. He was always My brother was like 6 foot, like fifth grade. He was like the big guy. He was always the big guy, like just always the athlete that everybody was like, "Oh, we want him on our team. We want him here. We want him there." Like, felt like I was always chasing after my brother. High school, I was chasing after my brother. College, I was chasing after my brother. And I think, yeah, but I'm getting off track. Let me get back. High school track and football was really what I really loved, and I ran track all the way through high school. And what am I trying to say? I wasn't really recruited heavy in high school. I wasn't really recruited like that at all. Um, I got a little bit of love my junior year. I didn't really go to a lot of camps. I feel like I was kind of in that generation where like camps were just becoming like really big, and like people really started to do the 7-on-7 thing really wasn't like that. I feel like that just popped off like right after I got out of high school. So 7-on-7 wasn't really a thing. But we did like a little summer league where we had like four summer league 7-on-7s against the local teams around the town, but wasn't really recruited a lot out of high school. But I remember my coach, my offensive coordinator, going into my junior year. I had a decent junior season blocking wise. I only had like 16 receptions my junior year, so as a receiver, it wasn't really a stellar year. But I remember my offensive coordinator, Coach Brady Walls, came up to me my junior year spring ball, one of our practices, and he was like, "Hey, like Montana's going to offer you Monday or something." It was like a Friday, Thursday or Friday. He was like, "Montana's going to offer you Monday," and immediately when he said Montana, I never forget. I remember Minnesota, like the Gophers, popped into my head because I had no idea where Montana was, and I remember I went home and searched them up, and I was like, "Oh, this is definitely not Minnesota. It's a little more this way on the map." And I remember I was like, "Oh, that's cool." They didn't call me actually when he said they were going to call me, but they ended up calling me like it was on our spring break. They called me, and I remember Coach Seymour. Funny enough, the connection there was Coach Brady Walls was my offensive coordinator, and Coach Seymour, Jason Seymour at Montana at the time, was he helped recruit my brother who went to Oklahoma State. He was at Oklahoma State when they recruited my brother, so that connection was kind of made through Coach Walls and Coach Seymour, who really knew each other. And they offered me, funny enough, they offered me as basically a tight end. It was like an H because I was like a really good blocker. I was a really good blocker. That's all you could see on my junior film. That's what I really showed, is I had a lot of pancakes on linebackers and safeties and corners, and I could block really well. So they offered me a full ride scholarship, and that ended up being my only offer. And going into my sophomore year, I redshirted at Montana, and going into my redshirt freshman year, I remember Coach Ferreter, my receiver coach, sat me down and said they were going to move me outside. So that's how I ended up where I am now. But yeah, one offer coming out of high school, and it's been I've loved it ever since.
So, I mean, Sam, I mean, you were talking a little bit about, trying to catch up to your brother, obviously being the taller guy, but I mean, you got some good size to you as well. I mean, where are you sitting at these days? I mean, I know you're in that like 6'3" to 6'4" range. What's your current height weight status?
6'4", 210. I'm around like 210. I'm like float between 205 and 210, but 210 is where I'm at.
Yeah, and I mean, I know that when they measured you, I mean, they measured you like, pretty long arms, like 33-inch arms. I mean, I know you got some big mitts on you too. So, what do I have in my notes? Almost like 11 inches is like 10 and 3/4 or something for
I
your
think it was 10 and 3/4. Yeah.
yeah, it's a whole lot bigger than mine. So I mean, obviously, you know, you got a lot going for you, size wise. I mean, I think a lot of people that are scouts, they're very curious about you, and maybe how you would project to the next level. But tell me a bit about you and how you're used there at Montana. What kind of receiver are you there?
I play outside. We have outside receiver and inside receiver. I don't play any inside. We there's I get put inside at times due to like formationally, just game plan wise and schematically wise what we got for that week. But I'm an outside receiver and I play on the outside. Um, I'm sorry. What was the full question again? Just
I think you just answered it, but I mean, really, the follow up to that is really, what do you feel you best bring to the table as a prospect? I mean, what do you think is like the best part of your game?
I would say probably just my work ethic. I would say that if there's something that I know I got to work on, I relish in that because I know that I get to dedicate the time and the hours that it takes to be able to perfect that. Um, I'd say really my work ethic and my yeah, just my work ethic, how hard I'm going to work at my game. I think that there's nothing that about my game that I can't perfect. I think that I think that I bring a significant amount of physicality to the position. I think that I just think that no matter what, I'm going to be able to get the job done. I know that no matter what, I'm going to be able to get the job done if I put my mind to it when it comes
Uh,
to my work ethic.
Gotcha. And I guess really my next question with regards to you and your work ethic is, I mean, you guys, I mean, actually, I mean, a lot of people, everybody really, like during the pandemic season in 2020, had a lot of, obstacles that they had to overcome. I mean, you guys didn't have any games in 2020. You had like two games, I think, like in the spring
Spring,
season. So,
yeah.
tell me about how that maybe affected you and really how you stayed motivated and driven during that time.
I think more than anything, what kept me motivated was knowing that eventually I was going to get a chance to play. Um, I knew that trusting in God really was the main factor that pushed me through, but knowing that I'm not getting immediate gratification right now and what we've worked on so long. So just working on my game and wanting to present myself as the best receiver I possibly could whenever I got that opportunity to play was probably what motivated me the most, knowing that eventually somebody's going to put a ball in front of us and eventually we are going to get to play some football.
Gotcha. And another thing that I just want to talk to you about, because I mean, I do think it's kind of relevant, is one of your boys there decided to make a transition. Very excellent wide receiver, All American Samari. He ends up, moving on, and that just kind of puts this it leaves this spot open for like the leadership role there in the wide receiving, like group. So tell me about you and maybe how you have perhaps, I don't know if you have, but how you maybe have perhaps taken on that role of the leader of your position group.
I would say my role hasn't really changed much. I felt like I was a leader prior to um, since the 2019 season when Keenan Curran had left. I felt like it was really me and Samori being the leaders of the group. And I felt like that's just continued on as this year has gone on and as COVID has gone on and as Maury's moved on. I felt like nothing has really changed. I felt like everybody in the room still looks up to me. Everybody in the room still sees me as the leader. Everybody in the room still listens to me. Everybody, I mean, um, yeah, I feel like the leadership role has just been continued on as it was prior to him leaving.
Gotcha. I mean, and obviously when people watch you guys, I mean, there's a lot going on for Montana. It's like you guys really haven't, missed a step. I mean, goodness, I mean, you guys are one of the FCS teams to really like upset an FBS opponent, but not just any FBS opponent. Actually, a ranked FBS opponent in Washington.
Yeah.
Tell me just a little bit about that game, and just kind of like, I don't know, any memory of that experience.
Man, it was wild because I was here in 2017. We played them in 2017, and there was very few people who are on the team now who were on the team then, and they had a litany of first round draft picks on that team in 2017. Vita Vea, who demolished my Cowboys the other day on opening night of the NFL. Byron Murphy. I can't even. They had so many guys on that team. But we got demolished 63-7. And I remember knowing that and being there, and I was just like, man, like I kept telling the young guys, like, man, you guys don't know, but I was there in 2017. I remember that. Like we can get these guys. I've seen what our team was then and where we are now. We can get these guys. And I remember starting in like January, February, I just kept putting the thought into my team, like just kept putting it into our guys' heads, like we can win. We can win. I remember Cam came up to me. Cam had been watching film because Cam's from Seattle, our quarterback. He came up to me and he was like, man, like, have you watched any film on these guys? And I was like, no, not really. He was like, we can beat these guys. And I was like, man, I know, man. Like, I know. And just really just putting that thought into people's heads, like, yo, we can do this. We deserve to be here. We belong on the field with these guys. Like, we can beat these guys. Like, just constantly knowing that. I mean, we know the work we've put in. We know what we've done. We know what we did. We know what we did all through 2020. We know what kind of team we have. We know what kind of momentum we've been building. We know who we are as a team, and we believe in ourselves. That was probably the coolest win I've ever been a part of. I mean, it's just crazy to go in there in a hostile environment and know that literally nobody but the guys in the locker room believe that we can do it. I mean, literally nobody. I mean, I had people close to me even telling me like, man, like, yeah, whatever, like, like good luck or whatever. It's just things like that that really make it even that much more sweeter to go to those guys and be like, hey, remember when you said that? Yeah, well, look at us now. Like it's very gratifying to have that and to be able to say like, yeah, you didn't think we would do it, but we did it.
Yeah, I mean, just kind of hearing you talk about that, I mean, hearing the passion and how you were just very motivated and driven to really just deliver that L to a team that at least you felt like totally deserved it. So, I mean, if people don't know Montana, they need to, man. Like you guys
Yeah.
have studs on that team, like on both sides of the ball. Heck, even
Oh
on
yeah.
special teams, you got guys that are great. So, um, tell me maybe about I don't know. Give me maybe one guy there that's one of your teammates that everybody needs to know. Maybe I think one's hard. Give me like two or three.
Number one, I'd say my guy OD, our long snapper. He's a legend. Great guy. I mean, he comes from a great family, but like he's a great guy. I mean, this guy he jokes around all the time. He can make anybody laugh, but at the same time, like he's such a giver. Like he would give me the shirt on his back. And if he didn't even have another shirt, if I needed a shirt, he would give me the shirt on his back. I mean, that's the type of guy he is. I mean, I love OD. Like, and it's funny enough, they did before our first home game, they came up with an article over him. It was titled "The Cult of OD." It's just kind of funny because we all love OD. Everybody on the team loves OD, and it's just funny to hear them come out with an article like that about him. Because I mean, he really does have a cult about him. Like if you know OD, you know he's a great guy. Been our long snapper since we were redshirt freshmen. Just my dog.
Yeah, I mean, he's definitely like one of the best. Not only like at the small school level. I mean, I think a lot of I think everybody really needs to know who he is, and
oh yeah,
if they don't know who Matt
O'Donohue.
I mean, I felt like I was going to butcher that last name. I felt like I was going to butcher that name, worse than yours. So I mean, definitely a great guy for sure. Hopefully, I can actually sit down and talk to him. That'd be great one of these days.
Yeah.
So, Again, a lot of other great guys there. I mean, you got Malik Flowers. You have excellent,
Oh yeah,
guys there on defense. I mean, gosh, Jace Lewis, dude. I mean, what
monster.
can you say? Yeah, dude is a freaking beast. I mean, if you don't know that team, if you don't know them, I mean, obviously that you guys can roll with everybody and anybody in that country. So I mean, uh, what's up? Basically, is basically what
Yeah.
you got to tell people. So.
Oh yeah.
Um, uh, let's get a chance. I mean, again, I got to know you a little bit in your opening story about how you did some track and field in high school. You ended up running some good times there. Again, just kind of want to move out of the football realm a little bit and just kind of learn a little bit about who Sammy Akem is. So tell me just something about yourself that you feel like a lot of people need to know, hobbies, interests, passions, talents,
Um,
anything you got going on.
one thing about me is if you tell me I'm not gonna do it, I'm gonna do it. And I have a story about that which relates to track. I never forget my freshman year. My brother told me it was before the freshman meet. It was an indoor meet at Oklahoma in Norman. My brother told me we were on the bus ride to Norman. It's about an hour and a half from Tulsa to. It's around the OKC area, uh, maybe a little north of OKC. Um, I never get on the bus. He told me I'll never beat him in hurdles. So um, funny enough, in that meet, we weren't because my brother did 110 hurdles too. He was never a state champion, but I'll get to that. We so we start the meet and we weren't in the same heat and we run our heats. He runs his heat. We do decent. I didn't think I did too well. I didn't like get top anything in my heat. I think I was like maybe sixth or seventh in my heat, maybe around there. But so we go look at the times afterward after the meet. This actually might have been my sophomore year. I think he was a senior. We go look at the times after the meet though, and lo and behold, we weren't in the same heat, but I placed ahead of him. My time was faster than his. And I never forget on the bus ride back, we were all kind of talking. You know how people are laughing on the bus, having fun on the bus. And I just chimed in. Everybody kind of got quiet. And I was like, hey, Jossie, remember before the meet when you told me like I wouldn't beat you? I was like, yeah, I beat you. And I think I had my phone or something. I think I had a picture of the times and I was like, yeah, look. And like, you see his name down here and like my name up here or whatever. And everybody was just like, oh, like everybody was. And that was one of my first moments where I was like, man, cause I could never beat him in Madden. I could never beat him in NCAA. I could never beat him in 2K. I could never beat him in wrestling. Like I'm the taller brother, but he's the bigger brother. Like I was always the skinny one. He was always the kind of the solid one. He was never fat, but he was just solid, like built solid. That's why he was always everybody always wanted him for football, basketball, everything. But yeah, I beat him, and then that's what motivated me to. So he that end of that year, I think he ended up getting fourth place at state, and I might have got like maybe like I don't think I got a podium or anything, but that's what motivated me my senior year to I need to get this state championship because he never did that. He never he he never did like he never got that. So that's be something that I got over him. Like I got to stand at the top of that podium, and no matter what you say, you can't take that away from me because I got that over you. And that just also relates to how my brother has been my main motivator my whole life, the one who drove me, the one who's been driving me my whole life. I just I've been chasing him my whole life, and now I don't know. I feel like I've kind of passed him athletically wise, just in accolades, and I feel like that's something that I don't know. I always wanted to have over him because it was always him. Growing up, it was always like, oh, he's better than you. He's bigger than you. He's faster than you. But some of my accolades outweigh his, and I don't know. I always relish in that.
Well, I mean, I think sibling rivalry is deep, man. I mean, I totally get
Oh,
it. I mean,
deep.
I understand how that goes. So, I mean, I got two brothers, so I mean, it is what it is, man. You're always trying to outdo one another. So I understand. I mean, again, though, I mean, a lot going on for you as a prospect. I mean, I think a lot of scouts really already know who you are. I mean, if they haven't already, I mean, obviously you guys really put on a clinic, out there. But a lot of great games still yet to come. I mean, what are we expecting out of the Grizz this year, man? What
Um,
what's the expectation? What are your goals?
the expectation is to win the Big Sky, beat the Cats, and win the Natty. I mean, those are expectations every year. But in order to achieve that, we got to take it one game at a time. And who we got this week is the Mustangs, the Cal Poly Mustangs. And that's just how we approach our season. That's just how Coach Hout has us wired. I mean, one week at a time. Anybody can beat us on any given week, and we can't come out here and think that because we beat UW or because we got a couple wins under our belt that we're hot stuff. I mean, we gotta stay focused, and we gotta prepare how we always have prepared, and we have to know that no matter what, if we don't prepare, somebody will come out there and beat us. So I mean, that's really how we're wired, and that's really what we try to focus on is one week at a time, one week at a time. Do not overlook anybody because this is college football, and as you've seen this year,
Oh
anybody
yeah.
can get beat.
Well, I mean, yeah, we definitely have seen a whole lot of upsets this year, a whole lot of FCS opponents really just kind of showing people up.
Man,
I mean, it really just goes to show really that the talent level between those two are like that, and
yeah.
it's so close at times. And I know again, guys like yourself can compete with almost anybody in the country, man. So
Yeah.
um,
And it's
and it,
not to cut you off, but it's funny that people always talk about. I remember like I'll see things on social media and people always talk about, oh, FCS, is it even D1? And it's like, yes, it's D1. And I think more than ever now, it's like people are seeing like, yeah, they might have more scholarships than us. Yeah, they might have more resources than us, but we can compete with anybody in the country. I mean,
oh yeah.
Jacksonville State, UC Davis, Eastern Washington, anybody. I mean, just the list goes on. You see it.
Yeah, no, I mean, I get you. I mean, and you know, uh, Montana's a really good school. I mean, they're a really good school. They're always in the running for conference championships, national championships. I mean, you guys are always, at the end of the season. I mean, you guys are always probably some of the last few guys like left standing. So, um, uh, I do want to go ahead and wrap things up, Sam. So, I mean, why don't you kind of finish us off? I mean, I wanted to give you the opportunity to I don't know, talk to all those scouts and evaluators out there that are looking at you. Tell them why they need to pay attention and maybe even, draft or sign you come next spring.
I would say because you're going to get a guy who's going to work hard. You're going to get a guy who's going to come in and and just know what needs to be done in order to get the job done. Um, I'm always going to put in the work. I'm always going to put in the extra work. You're not going to have to push me. You're not going to have to tell me that I need to work harder. You're not going to, that's not who I am. I'm going to put the work in. I'm going to grind, and I'm going to make plays when my number is called. All I've ever been is a guy who needed an opportunity. I only had one scholarship offer coming out of high school, and I've done the most possibly I could with it. Um, I'm grateful. I'm grateful for everybody who's ever lended a hand to help me. But I'm just gonna work. I mean, I feel like my whole career I've been a guy who's had to work and who's been able to put the work in and who's never been afraid to put the work in. So more than anything, I just feel like you're gonna get somebody who's gonna work hard and who's gonna be there whether people are paying attention or not.
Yeah, and I mean, again, like I do feel like you have a lot to bring to the table. I mean, again, just going back to your size, 6'4", 200, what, 10 pounds or something like that. I mean,
Yeah.
just kind of starting there, like from the basics. I mean, a guy who's not just a willing blocker, but I mean, a guy who is an effective blocker. But you're also so much more than that. I mean, you're a very dependable receiver. Very stand up. Teammates. So I think you got a lot going for you. I mean, people just need to pay attention to Montana and just
Yeah.
watch you guys succeed this season. So
Yes, sir.
um, I do wish you best of luck this upcoming season. Okay.
Thank you, sir.
All right. Again, this is Samuel Akem. He's a wide receiver out of Montana, one of the best small school athletes out there, and you really need to get to know him.